It's the final day of the Munich Security Conference, and today's focus is the Middle East. A clash between the US and its European allies over Iran was already in evidence on Saturday. US Vice President Mike Pence called on the EU to follow Washington's lead and pull out of the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, accusing Europeans of undermining US sanctions. Amid a growing divide between the US and Germany, Chancellor Angela Merkel defended the Iran agreement as a key channel to Tehran and stressed the need for international diplomacy. Let's cross now to Munich to speak to Ian Bremmer, president and founder of the Eurasia Group, one of the world's leading global political risk research and consulting firms. Mr. Bremmer, thanks so much for joining us. Now, this year's security conference saw a rift significantly widen between the US and the EU on a variety of issues, specifically Iran and Russia. What could the fallout from this be?
The fallout is that the Europeans are increasingly acting in a transactional way. That if the Americans want to work with them, they're going to have to get something in return. If they don't, then they don't. I mean, it's not the trust, the common values, the common strategy that, of course, was present when the transatlantic relationship came together after World War II, is really gone now. And I think that what you see on display at this Munich Security Council is a feeling of human failure, both collectively in being able to respond to global challenges like climate and cyber and an unwinding geopolitical order, but also very deep fragmentation in the transatlantic order. You mentioned Iran and Russia, but clearly the INF Treaty, clearly U.S. withdrawal from Syria, from Afghanistan, trade issues. I mean, pretty much everything that Vice President Pence was talking about, Angela Merkel was talking about, there was no overlap between those two speeches. That's quite something, and it's unprecedented here at the Munich Security Conference.
OK, deep divisions. Now, today's focus at the conference is the Middle East. Iran's Minister for Foreign Affairs spoke earlier, and he accused the US of an obsession with Iran. Let's have a quick listen to what he had to say.
This malign obsession with Iran is imposing costs on others, and especially in our region, which has for 40 years suffered from the consequences of insistence of the United States on making wrong choices. Driven by its pathological obsession with Iran, America has long encouraged recklessness and destructive adventurism on the parts of its clients.
A pathological obsession. Is there truth in that? Is that an accurate description, would you say?
Well, no. I mean, Trump's lack of attention span means that he doesn't get pathologically obsessed with anything. But there's no question that the United States is withdrawing unilaterally from the Iranian deal. That the American allies here in Europe, the Canadians, as well as countries like China and Russia, strongly oppose that, and they're upholding the deal. You saw not just here in Munich, but also in Warsaw, Vice President Pence strongly condemning the Europeans for not being with the United States on this issue. And you got crickets. You got complete silence from the Europeans. They are doing their best to go their own way. Now, ultimately, that means humanitarian aid and some small investments. The Iranian economy is going to take a huge hit on the back of the American economy mattering more. But let's be very clear. There is literally zero agreement on this issue between the Americans and the Europeans. And that means that the Iranian strategy is to wait out at least this Trump administration in the hope, and we'll see if it plays out, that he doesn't win a second term.
All right. Ian Bremmer, president and founder of the Eurasia Group, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.